I've been washed down the sink of your conscience. In the theater of love, I lost my part. You say you've got me out of your conscience. I've been flushed from the bathroom of your heart.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck. Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back to the Be Good Humans podcast, everyone. So nice of you to join us.
Indeed. Thank you for clicking like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, appreciate your kind ratings and reviews on all the podcast platforms as well. So, Brian.
Yeah, Trey.
I was at this industry event last night.
Oh.
This was an event that was filled with super talented, ambitious, up-and-coming new writers, and a couple of important things happened.
You lost your virginity.
No.
But
thanks for taking my head there.
Okay.
No, the first of two things that happened was that I felt like the oldest person in this room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens every once in a while.
Could it be because you were?
Yeah,
okay.
Quite possibly that. But the second thing that that happened to me as the evening went on, I found myself kind of more and more surrounded by these young writers who were asking for more and more advice.
Sure.
And I felt, if only briefly, because God knows I don't feel this way very often or anywhere else, I felt like, wow, I actually might have some wisdom to offer here.
Well, you're a professor at USC.
Yeah, but I don't...
And you moonlight doing that.
Yeah, but I sort of see...
For 20 years, right?
Yes, but I sort of see everyone as their own expert of their own lives. And so I'm always like, wow. But in this particular case, I felt like, wow, I actually have a mentor role to play here.
Okay.
And so then I was like, all right, then this is what I want to talk to Brian about. I want to talk about mentors.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about these people who come into our lives outside of our family, outside of our friends, often through professional circumstances or whatever, but like people who just inspire us and uplift us in different ways. And I've got to believe you have people like that in your life.
Well, I'm lucky, fortunate, blessed, however you want to put it, enough to be able to truly say I have many mentors. And I'll just pick one. To tell you a quick story, it's a lot longer than the way I'm going to tell it, but I just am so excited about our guest today. I don't want to take any time away from her.
I'm with you.
So I'll say this quick. Do you remember the Real Men of Genius Bud Light commercial campaign?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Real men.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, Mr. Guy who wears a toupee, and then it's the, well, it all started, I was finishing college in Chicago and doing my comedy group, waiting on tables.
Yep.
And as an elective, I took, because A, it sounded kind of interesting, and B, because, well, mainly because it sounded easy, I took a radio class.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So one of the assignments of this radio class was to call your favorite radio station in Chicago and get any department on the phone and do an interview.
Oh.
You pick the...
You got to cold call them and you got to like, okay.
So I called. The receptionist answers Q101 in Chicago.
Q101.
Which I listen to every morning because of the morning show, Murphy in the Morning.
Okay.
And he had a guy come in and do all these character voices. It was just right up my butt.
Yeah, of course.
Just loved it.
Of course.
So I explained everything to the receptionist, and she goes, how about the traffic department? And like, I'm a car guy. Yeah. I didn't know. Maybe I was going to be talking to like a helicopter pilot or something. So this very nice lady gets on the phone, and she explains to me what traffic
is in radio
terms. Yeah. And I start interviewing her. And during the interview, believe it or not, I got her giggling. I got her laughing.
I believe this.
So as we're wrapping up the interview, she said, Brian, have you ever considered being an intern? And I, like I said, I was doing comedy and waiting on tables, and I didn't have the. And I go, no, I haven't. She goes, well, we got a guy here. He's our productions director, the creative director, and he does voices on the Murphy in the Morning show. And I went, wait, does he do that character? Does he do this character?
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, that's him. I go, oh my God, I'm such a fan of his.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And she goes, why don't you come in tomorrow and have a sit down with Peter Stacker?
Oh, wow.
The great Peter Stacker. And I'd never heard of him, although I was a fan just because of the voices he was doing.
Yeah, of course.
He is the voice of the Real Men of Genius.
He's that guy.
That deep voice. He also went on to do the voice of Captain Jacob Keyes in the amazing Halo video games. Cha-ching.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Cha-ching.
exactly. Big money maker.
So my internship is wrapping up, and so he got on the phone with one of the radio stations that he did the sounders for. They're called. It's a WAPI, 1,000 watt blowtorch, that kind of thing. And it was just Birmingham station. And he got on the phone with him. And I didn't ask him to do this. It was a complete surprise. I just happened to be in his office when he's making the call. Right. And he was like, he's this, he does voices, he writes comedy, he's this and this. However, he knows nothing about radio. So put him together with a true radio guy, and you've got a good morning show.
Holy cow.
1 week later, they flew me down, gave me the job. I was supposed to originally work for a guy named Mark O'Brien, Mike O'Brien.
Okay.
He had to drop out because his wife didn't want to leave St. Louis, and so they put me together with Mark, and so I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on all those years on the radio without that mentor of mine, Peter Stacker. Something happened there.
Yeah.
What it is, I ain't exactly clear, but I got to tell you, I became his apprentice, and he became my mentor.
Right.
And it was serious. We were inseparable. We loved writing together. I can remember the first commercial that we were writing, and I said, it'd be better if you say that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And so we recorded it that day, and I'm driving to work 2 days later, and I hear my the. That's my the. He is my the. And I ended up doing a lot of voices on Murphy in the Morning Show. He'd pay me $75 to come in the morning and do a voice. So,
but see, this is what's so critical in these great mentor stories or in these relationships, because to a certain extent, he's passing a torch to you, but you are also lighting his creative flame in different ways, right?
I'd like to think so, but for a mentor, and again, I'm lucky enough to say I've had many. There has to be a trust. He trusted me, and I trusted him. Yeah, and we got so very, very close, and I'm so thankful that I was lucky enough to have him in my life.
Well, honestly, I'm thankful too, because if you hadn't met him, you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
True.
So
that's true.
That's amazing. I mean, these mentors are incredible.
What about you?
I had a few. William Kelly, the Oscar-winning writer of the movie Witness. Don Stewart, who was the Oscar-winning writer of Missing with Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek. Those two writers helped me be a better writer. My first agent was a guy named Ron Mardigian, who was not only my first and one of my greatest agents, but taught me how to be my own best representative. So that was very, very key.
And again, it goes back not only to trust, but you have to like each other. You have to massively respect whatever that mentor of yours is mentoring you.
No matter how much distance there may be in terms of your experience, there is still a complete overlap in terms of friendship and that mutual respect. And all of that carries, because Ron was not only my first agent, but then he is the reason I wound up teaching at USC. Wow. And definitely through, as you said, almost this will be my 20th year of teaching there, I have learned over time how important it is to have, as much as possible, a direct hand in the training of your replacements, right? Especially when the business is changing so radically in so many different ways.
And I think I told you this before. I don't know if it was on the show, but my father always had this opinion, this saying. He would say, always, if you're hiring someone, always hire someone that can replace you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was dead on correct there, because and especially, like I said, when things are kind of unstable, I mean, God knows the radio business certainly isn't the same as it used to be. That business has totally changed, or we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast in the first place. But the entertainment industry at large
has changed,
is going through this hugely seismic period of upheaval. We're talking about, I mean, between a global pandemic and a couple of necessary but very long and, trust me, very painful labor strikes, paired with all kinds of corporate and studio contraction, with big tech coming in and streaming, and now we have AI sort of looming over our shoulders. I'm not sure, honestly, Hollywood or the entertainment industry has ever felt quite so uninhabitable for the very artists that built it. We're talking about writers and directors and actors and creatives of all kinds, including musicians.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the music industry
has changed,
incredibly changed as well.
Right, but here's the thing, Brian. Makers got to make, and creators got to create. So when we come back, we're not only going to meet a maker and a creator, but a true artist and someone who is not only in her particular case making and creating amazing music, but in the way that makes for the very best mentors in our lives. She is also lighting the way for all kinds of other artists, even questionably old knuckleheads like us, at what often feels like a very dark time. So please don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back, everyone. We are extremely excited to talk to our next guest. She isn't only an incredibly talented musician, singer, and songwriter. Oh, no. She wears many other hats, my friend, including video creator, mentor, documentarian, influencer, and gearhead, just to name a few.
Oh, gearhead.
We welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the marvelous Mary Spender.
Hello,
welcome, Mary.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Before we get into the real reason why we're so excited to chat with you, I got to know about the gearhead thing. I fancy myself as a bit of a gearhead. So what's going on there? What do you like? What do you tell me about that?
Oh, I mean, it's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I've been fascinated with guitar since I was about 12 years old and coveted my friend's red Strat that was a Squire, and he had it in the locker rooms at school. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this glorious thing? And then, to be honest, my main gearhead, which I think is so nuanced, while other people were putting, I don't know, like magazine cuttings of famous actresses or actors or, hunky so-and-so. I was putting Fender P basses on my school diary. I was cutting out from guitar magazines. It was so nerdy. I was spending every Saturday in my guitar shop, where I'm actually still friends with the guy that sold me my first guitar.
Really?
But I bought one guitar in every 7 years, so like every Saturday I was just in there. And I didn't really know anything until maybe I was sort of 24, 25, so maybe a decade ago, and then just started asking questions and like not being afraid of being a beginner.
Yeah.
And I mean, that translated over into YouTube when I started making all the YouTube videos. I suddenly wasn't afraid to be like, I think this sounds cool, but I don't really fully know why, so tell me in the comments. And then just from there, it just sort of like spiraled out of control. And now I'm very, very proud of like the guitars I own. I actually just received a new amplifier, which I'm
exciting,
so stoked about. And it's just sort of spiraled out of control. And I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon, but it's an expensive hobby. That's what I'll say.
Well, look, I mean, to put it broadly, in addition to all of the gear, which we salivate over, what's probably most exciting about you, Mary, at least as one of your fans, is the way you sort of promote this DIY mentality to independently how to write and record and release music, and you are just incredibly generous in sharing not just all of this cool gear, but all of this amazing knowledge that you have gathered to what has now become a massive online following.
Look, it's a huge perk of doing this show is that every week we get to meet people from all over the world, every walk of life. And some of them I'm more interested than others, honestly, but they've all done remarkable things for other people.
Yeah.
So here I am researching you, watching all your videos and just falling in love with what you're doing and why you're doing it. Not to mention pretty easy on the eyes. But I really am.
Stop.
It's not just hey, here's my here's my website, here's my YouTube account. It's different every time. You could sit there with the guitar in front of you and not play it and just talk. Just talk. And I learn so much, Mary. I adore it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God, your compliments will get you everywhere. So.
Well,
and that'll do it for the show. I got to go to England real quick. What's the flight number of the?
Let me while he's booking his plans. Let me ask you this, Mary. What made you, aside from that red Strat that you once coveted, like what made you first want to be a musician, and who were some of your first musical influences?
Oh, I mean, I was really, really lucky that my grandmother noticed that when I was a baby, I was singing.
As a baby?
Yeah, like literally as I think I was like a 2-year-old in a cot asleep one time, and my grandmother was visiting from Australia, so she didn't really get to spend much time with me, so she was sort of a bit more concentrated on me than maybe my mother was.
Right.
My mother has told me this story. So I think my mum was somewhere probably just resting, or just 2-year-old around, and my brother was 5. And she just heard me singing arpeggios. And my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she just said to my mum, she was like, that child is musical. And my mother is very her ear is amazing, and she loves music, and she educates me all the time, but she wasn't trained as a musician, nor was my father.
Okay.
And they just sort of nurtured it. They were really open to letting me have music lessons, and I joined a community Saturday morning school called Salisbury Area Young Musicians at the age of 6. I was 6 years old. So I was singing in a choir. I then got singing individual lessons. So talking about mentors, my music teachers were just incredible. I had a singing teacher called Petra, a piano teacher called Jill, and they genuinely changed my life. And they were almost like they were therapists up until I was a teenager. Then I had an amazing viola teacher called Gay Gullingford. And sometimes I barely even played viola in those lessons. I was just constantly motivated when they were just like, you seem tired. You seem overworked maybe at school, because I was doing a lot of extracurricular music.
Right.
But yeah, from the age of 6, I was obsessed. And then all the classical music started taking its toll a little bit, and I found it quite restrictive. So I stole my brother's guitar when I was about 11 or 12, and he'd sort of given up on that journey and I'm really glad he did, and I think he's glad he did as well, because then I just started. It was like a Spanish guitar, and I think it was missing a string.
Nylon strings,
chunky fretboard,
right.
And all I was figuring out, and I remember it so well, I was figuring out the James Bond theme tune on the lower E string. Yeah, exactly. So from then on, I was hooked. Boys at school were given, electric guitars. I had to save up because my parents were like, you're already not practicing your other instruments enough. Can you please just, if you're going to do it, why not teach yourself? And so I did. And I was learning I was learning all the stuff that I wouldn't have learned anyway.
Right.
So it was the best therapy. And I remember doing this one show with 3 of my best friends at school. We were 12 years, maybe we were 13 years old. And I remember coming home. It was like a lunchtime concert, which is so rock and roll. We played 4 songs, 4 covers. And I came back from that, and I was hooked on the adrenaline of playing to a live audience. And I just remember walking back into my parents' kitchen and being like, well, that's it. That's all I want to do.
Wow.
And I was 13.
Wow.
And I just knew. And then I started writing my own songs at 15. Again, just a few people along the way just gave me a lot of courage. I met a singer-songwriter called Narina Paolo, who she never blew up massively, but she was pretty successful in the UK in sort of 2004, 2005.
Okay.
And we went to a Suzanne Vega concert where she was supporting. And so we got to meet her in the interval, and she was signing a CD for me. And my mother just literally, you know, when you just grab a child by their shoulders and just like move them,
Right.
So
right.
because they're just too shy to move themselves,
Yes,
she did
yeah.
that to me, and she just plonked me in front of Narina, and Narina was just so patient and kind. She was like, "So I hear you're a singer. I hear you're playing guitar," and I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Do you write songs?" And I was like, "Not yet." And she was like, "You should go for it. It's really amazing." So I went home that evening and I wrote my first song. And
Do you still play that sometimes?
yeah, it's a song called She, and it's actually not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's evolved.
Right.
It's evolved over the time as well. But yeah, it became like the first acoustic track on a acoustic project I did called Songbook.
Oh.
So the first song on that Songbook Volume 1 is She. So that's the first song I ever wrote, and then, 18 songs in total on that project.
I know you're dying to know the first song I wrote.
Oh, yeah.
I was 7.
Okay.
And I wrote it in the bathtub.
Okay.
My brother and I used to take baths together. Not intentionally, but they made us. My little brother and I wrote, one night when I came home, yeah, yeah, 2, 3, 4. One night when I came home, yeah, yeah, 2, 3, 4. I hugged you and I kissed you. I really, really missed you. One night when I came home, yeah, yeah, 2, 3, 4. That was 7 years old, 6, 7 years old. I wrote that.
Thank you for joining us, Mary.
That is a hit.
Yeah.
That is a hit. You should re-release that.
You really should.
We'll edit that out.
No, we will not. We absolutely
No,
will not.
yeah.
So, Mary, okay, so
please don't.
so you've got all these incredible musical influences and this natural talent that's starting to evolve. You're coming of age as an artist, but at a time also when the music industry is changing. I guess it's always changing, but particularly when you were sort of launching this career, there were some big shifts happening, like we were talking about earlier in the show. So, how can you speak a little bit to how today's music scene is kind of different for musicians? What are the other kinds of skills that you need beyond the viola and the guitar and the singing and the songwriting and all that stuff to possess, besides just having good chops on those instruments?
Because if you wanted to make a record in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s,
Yeah.
You get signed, hopefully, by a record label.
Yeah.
The promotion, you didn't have to do it yourself. It wasn't self-promoting. There was no social media.
Correct.
What it usually consisted of a record representative going to a radio station with a 45 of this new artist and a dime bag of blow. I'm serious. I'm absolute. Payola was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, or stereo equipment, or in some cases, a car. Play this record, here's your gift.
Right.
And they've since outlawed that. Before I got into radio, unfortunately, that would have been cool, payola. That'd be awesome, but I never got to experience that. But so that's how. But now it's changed in so many ways. You have to self-promote, and there's a labyrinth of things you have to navigate to do it yourself. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Well, I'll preface it by being like, I was never successful in that sort of traditional industry, even in the 2000s, 2010s. So I'm an optimist about now. And
Nice.
yes, you do have to work really, really hard, but who doesn't have to work hard?
Yeah.
And I mean, what a luxury to be working hard in music and video.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's a lot that you also have to navigate when you also have to just be quite good.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a crappy musician and expect to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other stuff, I always think about it now when I'm asked this sort of question about like, well, do you really like making videos? I'm like, well, I'm really lucky. I really do like making videos, always have done. And I get to spend my day in the way that I want, where if I remained in my day job that I had in sort of 2000 up until 2018, 2019, I wouldn't have had the luxury of that time. So I can be making a video for sure and, spending time on dividing it up into content, doing all the admin behind all the videos, but I can also sit with my guitar on my lap. Whereas when I was in a day job at 9 to 5, I didn't have that luxury that I could just sort of take a break, write a song, and then get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I now get more hours to be a better musician and improve. And although I definitely showed a spark with music, but I also wasn't very good for a very, very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I even have a progress video where it just shows you like how out of tune I was singing. So when people are like, well, I can't sing in tune, now I'm like, well, yeah, it takes 20 years of practice, really.
Right.
So if you're not willing to do it, just like with any any field. It is a lot, but going back to how it used to be down to luck. And a lot of people were not lucky.
Sure.
A lot of people were not signed.
Right place,
or even
right
if
time.
you were signed.
Yeah.
The right place, right time thing. It now is the right place and right time for you to make your own career. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it in front of millions of people. You're not going to be Taylor Swift. There's only one. But instead, there's this sort of like middle class of musicians where you can focus on building a very small audience. So you only have to cater to a niche and you can make a pretty healthy living. And that's just where I'm like, if you're a musician in this day and age, do you want to be doing it for the rest of your life? If so, here is a pathway that is way more likely to be successful than the traditional way.
And that brings us to what you do.
Yeah.
A modern day musician you are, who's tried to do it their way. But you started figuring out how to navigate an incredibly challenging music industry. Now, that's a monumental feat in its own, right?
No small
to do
feat.
it successfully.
Right.
But you, Mary, here's what you do. You choose to share, well, basically give away your hard-earned do-it-yourself knowledge to any and all via your highly successful YouTube account. And by the way, she has 88 million views. And what do we have? 5, 6?
We're just hoping to coast on some of your fumes.
We're coming. And of course, your 21st Century Musicians newsletter. Do you remember the moment in time when you decided, I'm going to share this? I'm going to share my, again, hard-earned knowledge of how to navigate through a do-it-yourself music industry career.
Well, I kept seeing other artists who were infamously penniless, like photographers, filmmakers, illustrators. They were all, and musicians too, but I hadn't sort of found the music YouTube world just yet. But in sort of 2015, Casey Neistat was uploading his daily vlogs, and YouTube just looked like this weirdly creative, super intense, because it was daily content, platform where people were building their own businesses within their field. So you didn't have to worry about the wider music industry.
Right.
You could just build your own music business. And so, just having the control, I was like, ooh, that seems really intriguing. So I even remember speaking to my father about it, being like, I'm going to maybe take a break from gigging and I'm going to concentrate on YouTube. And he was so nervous for me. He was like, you spent so long building up these sort of cover gigs, doing weddings, because even that, it's not a quick fix. It takes years to sort of get known within those circles and then get the gigs and
of course
build the websites that you have to have and the repertoire that you have to have for a 4-hour cover set as well. It was quite hardcore. But I just said to him, I was like, I've got nothing to lose, essentially. So why not just give it a go? And very quickly, now I look back at it, I was invited on to a guitar shop channel called Anderton's, and they just treated me like a musician. I wasn't just, I don't know, a person that played guitar. I was like, they were like, we love your music, play electric for us. What are you playing? How did you get into this? And it was the very start of just weirdly being taken seriously. I couldn't quite get over it. And then some collaborations came out from just me uploading every week on YouTube. And I was just willing to be honest. And
yes,
I think maybe all, creative industries could do with a little more honesty and transparency.
True.
And, it's still nerve-wracking now, but I think by helping with original music, you're sort of bearing your soul on stage anyway. So it's not that hard to be able to talk about something that I know is affecting other musicians, or even just general creativity problems, or, just, I don't know, also just intriguing histories and stuff that maybe isn't being taught in schools now because of defunding music education all over the place.
Right.
So it all just it didn't happen all at once. You can see the progression of like the style of content. I used to just switch on a camera completely unprepared. And now I've had to level up because of, essentially the competition on YouTube. Like we've all been doing it a long time now, and you want to be more polished. And I've learned so much from, why would you have a table read for a script in TV? Because it's preparation and you desperately need it.
Right.
Well, I have table reads for my YouTube videos now.
Nice.
So in front of my team. So, it's all those sorts of things where you're like, okay, this is actually how to build a business. This is all the stuff we have to do. This is the way to make it more natural and fluid on camera, but also save time elsewhere and be way more efficient. To be able to keep up with that sort of kind of constant weekly turnover. We don't really get the season breaks on YouTube, which
right.
one day I kind of hope they'll just force us to have. But yeah, it was definitely this like decision I made, and I knew I had to talk on YouTube and be a bit more of a YouTube personality as opposed to just playing songs every week, because that hadn't worked for me beforehand. So I had to sort of show a little bit more about who I was and my background and my interests.
We talked earlier about, before you came on, about mentors. To be a mentor, you have to be trusted. You have to be, to whoever you're mentoring, transparent. You have to be honest, and you have to be interesting. And you are all of that. All joking aside, you talk to me when I'm watching. I know some radio DJs that I could listen to on the radio, and they were talking to me. You have that quality, and I just
thank you.
Fell for your newsletter just immediately, and your YouTube videos just immediately, and I trust you, and I learned so much, as I said.
That's the key word that you used, is honesty, right? That authenticity absolutely makes its way online to all of your followers, including us. And then in the middle of all of this, Mary, doing all these videos, creating all of this content, inspiring all of these people, you also somehow just managed last month to drop an incredible new album, which is called Super Sexy Heartbreak. We absolutely love the songs, by the way. I can't stop listening in particular to You Can Have Chicago Back. I have a love affair with Chicago, but also like what Chicago represents metaphorically. I feel like we've all got that kind of a Chicago in our lives, but like there's so much great music. It's just a beautiful, personal, really powerful album that I know you're about to go on tour across the UK to support. I think in late September, early October. But if we may, is there anything from this incredible new album, Super Sexy Heartbreak, that you might perhaps be willing to play for us today on Be Good Humans?
Well, funnily enough, I have a guitar.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You have a guitar near you?
Yes.
I have a guitar near me. How shocking.
That's amazing. Oh, she's reaching for the guitar.
Oh, this is a
I'm reaching for the guitar.
This is a watershed moment for us.
Can't wait.
Do you want to gearhead over this guitar first?
Oh, yeah. Tell us anything.
This is like my pride and joy. So I've been playing an OM28 by Martin. And like, I've always loved and coveted Martin, especially like their history, and then also the players that had signature models. And I got the opportunity to go to the factory, and then they were like, we're going to build you a custom instrument.
Oh.
And so I collected this in December. And so this is my custom OM42.
To your measurements and all that? How do you customize the guitar other than the appearance?
This is the Mary Spender guitar.
Well, I mean, so the shape is the OM shape. So that's kind of fixed.
Okay,
and
right.
what, just the feeling of it is very similar to my OM28, but I got to pick the woods. So the spruce top with bear claw on it.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You might be able to see it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It literally just looks like a bear has claws.
Everyone was just listening and not watching this on YouTube.
Correct.
Everyone listening in there. Sorry, but we're sounding like we're at a fireworks show.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Wait,
Wow.
Mary, does she have a name?
I don't name my instruments.
Okay, good. Fair enough.
Brian's a good name for a guitar.
I've never. I know. I was actually reading about B.B. King and how he
Lucille.
named Lucille. And it's like this crazy story. I can't wait to make this video that I've got in the works. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. But there is a bit of a quote that I can't wait to make a joke about what it feels to have a guitar on your lap. You can use your imagination. But anyway, it's got my signature.
Oh, look at that. I just noticed
yeah.
that across the fretboard. Look at that.
Is it signature in pearl? Or?
Yeah, in mother of pearl. And
Wow.
it's crazy delicate. And then basically they surprised me with, so I've got a bicycle tattoo because I like bikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they put a bicycle
There
on
it
the
is.
back
Oh, God.
of the headstock.
On the back of the headstock, there's a bicycle. Wow, this is a special instrument, and
Yeah.
this is a very special moment for. Oh, look at that!
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful,
The back.
beautiful finish.
Very
Okay.
special moment for both of us.
Yeah, for both of us, no question. We're going to shut the hell up now and let you play. What is it you're going to be playing from the new album?
It's a song called Getaway Sun. And I hope I do this guitar justice now after that big fanfare.
Take every lie, spin a web with every excuse. All the tears she wept cross every road. Which way now? Run for the stairs. Catch a bus out of town, find a way out. It's what you said to me over the winter sun. Low in the sky, sat on the beach. 3 weeks feels cheap. Getaway sun, getaway sun. Give me cover to run. Now it's night, I'm on my way. Bethlehem lights, the North Star I craved. My forehead's cold, stuck on glass, reflecting missing faces of passengers up front. We're all on the run, run. It's what you said to me over the winter sun. Low in the sky, set on the beach. 3 weeks feels cheap. Getaway sun, getaway sun. Give me cover to run. Run, 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 slow down, brain, I can't stop blaming, retreating, shaming. I must get off. The sun keeps beating, pouring, sinking, never sleeping. I'm on the run. It's what you said to me over the winter sun. Low in the sky, sat on the beach. 3 weeks feels cheap. Getaway sun, getaway sun. Give me cover to run.
Okay. I got lost in that song. I
Oh
didn't
my
know-
God. That is such a gift. You are such a gift, Mary Spender. Thank you so much for that. That, again, Getaway Son from Super Sexy Heartbreak, your latest album. Mary, if people want to follow you and or subscribe to your newsletter, 21st Century Musician, hear some of these amazing songs, find out your latest tour dates, not to mention watch and learn like we do from all of your inspiring videos, what's the best way for them to do that?
If you just type into Google maryspender.com, then that's kind of like the home base where you will find a link to the YouTube channel, a link to the 21st Century Musician newsletter, my tour dates too, if you do happen to be in the UK, late September, early October. But yeah, I'm always posting something on Instagram or, now I'm broaching into the world of TikTok as well. So, here, there, everywhere, and YouTube, of course.
Okay. Incredible. Well, maryspender.com. We're definitely going to also post a link on the Be Good Humans podcast website.
And Mary, listen, you believe me when I say we've never asked this in the months we've done this podcast, but we would love, because I've got millions of other questions. I prepared for this incredible interview, and I've got millions of other things to talk about with you and ask you about. So if you could come back some other time, we would adore that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we got that on tape, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have it on tape.
It's on tape. So she said absolutely.
Yes.
Under contract now.
Well, thank you again so much, Mary, for being such a good musician and such a good human. And we really appreciate your time.
And for singing that song for us.
Oh, yeah.
I got
Thanks
lost.
to you guys as well for making this space for people to come on and actually, talk about what they do and also be so enthused by it. And I love how curious you both are. And yeah, I just, sending love right back your way.
Thank you very much.
Please come back. We have it on tape.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back in. Sitting here just trying to think of how to express what a wonderful person she was and how beautiful that song was.
Oh, my God.
But I can't find the words that just doesn't sound like your average run-of-the-mill fan.
But let's just be that, because she deserves it.
Absolutely. And I wanted to share something with you because I was going to ask her about this. And when she comes, not if.
Yeah, when.
But when.
When she comes back.
She comes back to be a guest another time. In a video that she put out recently, she said something that truly resonated with me. Truly resonated. And I wanted to run it by her, and we will when we talk to her next. And I wanted her to expand on it. But for some reason, it just touched me and resonated with me. She said, "How does a creative stay creative? By pushing their own boundaries and remembering how it used to be." Which is a song lyric in itself, and she's just throwing that out in conversationally.
But those are the kinds of pearls of wisdom she routinely drops on her YouTube channel. So please check it out. Again, maryspender.com. We are going to drop that link on the Be Good Humans website. Go to the Be Good Humans website, if you would, please. Tell us about the good humans in your lives. Give us some pointers on how to be a good human. Follow us on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff. And also, come check us out and subscribe on Patreon, where we got some exclusive content waiting for you. I'm on a high. I told her already, it doesn't get better than that.
I've heard practically everything she's done in her videos on YouTube. But I'm going to get this album and go deep into it. Absolutely. I've heard some songs, but I'm going to go deep into it. It's going to be on my new stereo.
Yeah, well, you will love it. Meanwhile, thank you for joining us once again. And as always, we encourage you openly and passionately to...
Should we sing it?
We can't. I'm not going to follow that act. There's no way.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Be good humans.
Bye-bye.
Be good humans. Be good humans. Be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Be Good Humans is executive produced by Brian Phelps, Trey Callaway, and Grant Anderson, with associate producers Sean Fitzgerald and Clementine Callaway in partnership with Straw Hut Media. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and remember, be good humans.